Hello and welcome everyone to What's Next, the podcast where we dive a little deeper into life's bigger, scarier questions. And today I'm so excited to be joined by my good friend and brother, Mr. Shady.
Yes,
Shady, it's very nice to have you here on the podcast with us.
it's very nice being with you, Rafi. It's great, honestly. I'm so happy to be with you. It's an honor for me.
It's my honor. Welcome, welcome.
Thank
I'm
you.
very excited. You're my very first guest here, and yeah, I'm excited to see kind of where this goes.
Same here, and it means a lot to me to be your first guest. I hope,
Yeah.
I hope it's a good start. But
Oh, it's an amazing
for the
start.
rest, thank you,
It's an
brother.
amazing start.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So, Shady, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Shady Atala. Um, I I graduated 2 years ago from undergrad. I
Very
got
nice.
my degree in civil and infrastructure engineering.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, currently I am
Engineering.
working as a project manager.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Project manager. That's a fun role. That's
Yeah.
a fun title.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. It's a flex, I'm a project manager.
Yeah. There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, you're a project manager,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm the opposite of a project manager. I'm your problem
Yeah.
most of the time. I'm the reason that you have to pull your hair
I
out
have to
at
work.
night
Right.
most of
Actually,
the time.
you're the reason I have.
That's right.
I
Yeah,
have
that's
to
right.
work.
That's right.
It's okay. It's okay. Well, if you're the reason, that's actually a good reason for me to work.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
So I am 24 years old. I was born and raised in Egypt.
Ooh, what part of Egypt?
What Cairo, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure how familiar you are with like Egypt.
Not super.
See, that's fine. Whenever
I was born here.
Yeah.
Well, on this side of the world, so probably not super.
No, that's fine. Whenever like someone tells me like, "Oh, what part of Egypt?" I'm like Cairo, which is like, okay, Cairo's like a million things. Like what?
That's like saying Virginia.
Exactly. Like yeah. So in Cairo, I was born in it's like that place is like the city. I guess it's called New Cairo. Okay, it's like
Wait, I might know where. Okay, I kind of know where that
Mhm.
is. Yeah, is that close to Heliopolis?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
went there. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, I've been there.
I'm from that area, and I
Okay.
was born in an area called Sheraton.
No way.
What?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. Wait, why?
I have, well, I think she's moved at this point, but um I had a relative in the Sheraton and I stayed with her there
Okay.
when I went 2 years ago.
Nice.
That's crazy, dude.
Okay, no, yeah, I was born and raised there. Like I lived there
Wow.
in Sheraton my entire childhood, and then
Wow.
yeah.
That's crazy. So when did you move to the state?
I moved to the States in 2013. So I
Oh,
was
okay.
12 and a half.
Wow.
Yep.
That's pretty young.
Yeah.
That's a tough age to move.
Exactly.
It's a really tough age to move,
No, yeah, 100%.
especially to a whole new country.
That's like the age when you start forming like your friendships and like you start like discovering more about yourself. It was a complete it was a transformation. Like
Oh,
the
I bet.
transition was
I bet. I can only imagine.
yeah, I know.
Wow.
But yeah, no, thank God. We moved here in 2013.
Wow.
Um I was
That must
born
have been an adventure.
it was. Oh, for sure. For sure it was.
Wow.
I like at first I was like, no, I want to go back. Like I
Of
want my
course.
country. I want my friends. I
Yeah.
want everything
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
It was like obviously like it's a different culture, it's a different world, it's just a different mindset, it's just a bunch of different like things.
Yeah, everything's different.
And the challenges you just need to like get like accustomed to like this new life.
Mm.
Um and yeah, especially too, like even accept the idea of like moving. Like I just for me
Oh,
just didn't make I didn't think
yeah.
it would be that like big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I even told like my friends, I'm like, I'm just like I took it very lightly. Like when I
That
was
is
leaving, I was like,
so
yeah.
funny.
But yeah, after that, like I'm like, man, just completely
Yeah, it's different. That's so funny because I moved around the same age
okay.
from, well, it's not nearly as drastic of a move, moved from Colorado down to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, like I also talk to my friends as like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be here forever. I'm gonna be here for my whole entire life. I'm not
Exactly.
moving. Why would I move? I love
Yeah.
it here. I was in 6th grade, so I was probably like
Mm-hmm.
11 or 12 as well.
Okay.
But I hated it as well. So
Yeah.
I get that. I get that.
Yeah. And even like because I also like I have family in the States and in Virginia
Oh,
also.
that makes it a
Like
little easier, I guess.
that makes it a little easier. And like I also came to visit
Mm.
in 2010. Like I just
Oh,
came
nice.
to visit my
Yeah.
family, my cousins here.
Yeah.
And actually like so you can like I guess you could say like oh like I had like a trial period. Like I came here
Sure.
before and
Sure.
like it's the same
You
state.
got a
Like
little taste
yeah, a little
before
taste.
diving in. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can say that I guess. And like especially like I moved to the same state. Like I like visited before.
Mm.
But no, bro, it's not the same.
It's not the
It's not the
same.
same when you know, like you're going back to your home country,
Yeah.
and you're only spending a few weeks, just like a vacation,
That's right. Vacation versus moving.
versus
Big
moving.
difference.
It's a completely different like thing. So,
Yep.
so yeah, that whole like I did not get a taste. Like I just I just knew.
Like ripping the Band-Aid off.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
painful.
You
Really
know,
painful. And a
yeah.
big change for 12. 12 years old is
Mhm. Yeah,
that's young.
yeah.
That's young. That's
I
a tough age. Sometimes change is hard but good.
yeah,
And you just don't see it until
yeah.
years later.
I know you've moved a bunch of times too. Like,
A handful.
mhm.
Yeah. I mean, so I was born in Canada.
Okay.
So this side of the hemisphere,
Well, how
not
come I
hemisphere,
never?
this side of the ocean, not
Okay.
the other side. Yeah, not the hemisphere. Although it was the northern hemisphere, not the southern hemisphere. So
You're, yeah, that's
yeah,
these are two. That's a lot of information that you know. Good for you.
yeah. So I was born in Canada. I didn't spend any time there though. I
Mm,
was 11 months, I think, when my parents moved um to Colorado Springs.
okay.
So I spent up until I was, well, again, 11 or 12
Mm,
in Colorado Springs.
okay.
Made lots of great friends. And yeah, moved down to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I from 12 up until 20, so that was 2009 when I moved to Texas.
Okay.
Lived in Texas until 2020. So I graduated high school. I graduated college. And that's a fun story
Mm.
because right after I graduated college, if you couldn't already tell, in the middle of the pandemic. Actually, not the middle, the beginning of the pandemic. I
Yeah.
still remember we were doing our senior project and then they shut our lab down.
Mm.
I go home, you can't be on campus. Next thing you know,
So was your
never.
college also in Texas?
Oh yeah. I
Okay.
went to so I graduated from Texas A&M University.
Okay.
Got my bachelor's in aerospace engineering.
Mm.
Um, so that in and of itself is a massive story, a massive nightmare of a story.
Okay.
Not a nightmare, but there were a lot of nightmares. I had a lot of nightmares. We'll put it that way. It was a great story.
And
I had a lot of nightmares.
you weren't the only one.
Yeah. Engineering. If you're going into engineering, just know you're gonna have nightmares, and most
Yeah.
of them have to do with numbers. The
Mhm.
numbers don't. They don't leave you alone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I graduated in a time of great uncertainty for
Mm.
the whole world, not just the country, not just the state, no, the whole entire world.
Yeah.
Had no idea what was happening next. And
Yeah.
neither did I. So that was fun. Yeah, so I also got a job offer right before I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God, because if it wasn't for that job offer, I wouldn't have had any job.
Okay.
Because as soon as the pandemic hit,
Mm-hmm.
all of the companies stopped
Yeah.
hiring.
Yeah.
And I had friends who also had job offers before they graduated,
Mm-hmm.
and those job offers got redacted or taken away
No way.
because of the pandemic.
That's so bad.
Yeah. Now, funny story is I didn't want to leave Texas because, now I'm a diehard Texan. I love Texas.
Yeah.
I even joke with Myrna that we're moving back to Texas. We're not, but
How does she react? I would be interested to
she's
see
like,
that.
no. Just like, no, we're not. I'm not.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not moving to Texas. At least not anytime soon. But yeah, anyway, so like I love Texas. My family's there. I have a bunch of friends there. Like my life is there. But it turns out that God had different plans for me.
Yeah.
So I moved to Southern Maryland, which, for those of you who do not know, there's nothing to see. Don't go there. There's literally nothing. But yeah, so I started working for the Department of the Navy. That was also a nightmare for other reasons. We can dive into that a little bit.
I remember that time.
That's when we met. Yeah,
I remember.
That's when we met. Yeah, yeah. So I lived in Maryland for, oh goodness, a year and a half, 2 years, 2.5 years, until I decided that enough was enough, and I just got tired of seeing cornfields and car dealerships.
Okay.
And I figured, why don't I just like go see some humans? Because human contact is great when you're a young person who needs to socialize and have a life. So I decided, okay, I've had enough. I'm gonna move to Virginia. I moved to Virginia. Best decision I've ever made. All the while, mind you, I was still trying to get back to Texas. Like I was applying to jobs to get back to Texas.
Okay.
I wanted to go back so bad. But again, God had other plans for me.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Everything has worked out well. So yeah, moved to Virginia, and ever since 2022, I think I've been here. So that's not very long, actually. It's like 2-ish years, 2.5 years. I've moved a handful of times.
Yeah.
I've had some adventures. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say so. Yeah.
But I guess like the difference. So like the difference between me and you, I moved once, and it was already like
that's a big, massive move, though.
Exactly.
Like
so you could tell
across
mine,
the planet.
Yeah, mine you could tell was like a massive like movement.
Yeah.
I guess the question I'd have for you is which of these like movements would you say like was the toughest, or would you say like just looking back like?
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah.
It's a tough answer though, because they all happened at very different stages of my life.
Yeah.
Obviously, when I was 12, like I didn't understand the world. I didn't understand anything. All I know.
So did I when I moved from Egypt. Like,
and I mean, you got like plucked out, tossed into a completely different world. It's like so different. But yeah, for me, it was like, like, oh, why are you taking me away from all my friends and the things that I feel comfortable with at 12?
Yeah.
At 20 something, what was I? How old was I? Like 23, 22, 23. It was a completely different story. It was, well, I don't want to leave my family. I don't want to leave. I guess it was the same, just different.
Yeah.
Like instead of just leaving my friends, it was, oh, well, now I have to leave my family too. Like my parents, my sisters. I think that was the hardest.
Yeah.
That was the hardest thing. And it's still hard, like I still want to go back and be with everyone, but thank God I found my way, I guess.
Yeah.
Here. So yeah, I can't complain, Yep. But yeah, I mean, like that was, I'll tell you that those 3 years after I moved to Maryland and Virginia, even, those were the years that I was personally like, I was fighting with God. I was like, God, you can't keep me here.
Okay.
I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
There's nothing for me here. I just want to go home.
Yeah.
And that was my conversation. Well, that wasn't, not verbatim.
Yeah.
I wasn't like demanding anything from God, but I was like, come on, God, like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Why am I out here? Like, I don't know anyone here. I don't have anything here. Like, I'm just alone, and I don't want to be alone. I want to go home. I want to see my family. But no, God had God had other plans. And thank
Yeah,
God, like, I mean, you
100%.
look at I look back now and I'm like, oh wow, okay, I get it.
Hmm.
I understand.
Yeah.
I was wrong. I understand. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Yeah. No, it's funny that you say that because when I moved from Egypt,
Yeah,
I was also fighting, but I wasn't fighting with God because I didn't understand
for sure.
any of that. So I wasn't even like
It's
I
probably
didn't even know
more
who
a fight
God
with your
is.
parents than with God. Yes,
Exactly.
yeah.
You got this right. So
Yeah.
who guess who was like who were the first people I'd fight with? My parents.
Well, I mean, at that age, your parents are kind of the closest thing you know to God,
Mhm.
I guess. I mean, obviously they're different, but like at that age, it's like, oh, your parents are they're the big decision makers. They're the ones
Exactly.
that have control over your life. You
Exactly.
know,
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've gotten to a point where I'm pretty flexible. I'm pretty fluid.
Mm,
God says, "Hey, go left." I'm gonna be going left. I'm
mhm.
not gonna think about going right. I'm just gonna go left
Yeah.
and roll with it and see what happens. Because yeah, I've just learned that His plan or His design, His will, it's monumentally ahead of anything we could ever wish for or
Yeah.
want.
Yeah. It's always good when you like know and believe.
Yeah.
You know, you don't just say it, but you actually believe it. You actually live it.
Mm-hmm.
Where like if he tells me to go left, I'm gonna go left. If he tells me to go right, I'm gonna go right.
100%.
And I feel like
100%.
even though like for me personally, sometimes I will say, you know, I just I want him to direct me. I want to do what he tells me to do. But for
Yep.
me, to be honest, I don't do that all the time. And a
Yeah.
lot of the time,
It's
I just
something we
want
have
to
to
take
learn.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just want to take things in my own like hand. I just want to
Yeah. Of
be
course.
the one driving.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Of course.
I say I want him to work in my life and to guide me and to choose for me.
Yeah.
But in reality, my actions can
You
be
want control.
completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Hey, Jesus, take the wheel, right?
yeah.
That's a country song. I don't listen to
I didn't
country,
know that.
but but there's a song, Jesus Take
Okay.
the Wheel, and sometimes I think about that, even though I don't even know how the song goes, but like sometimes I think, oh yeah, why don't you take the wheel? It's not
Mhm.
like I know where we're going.
Yeah,
Uh, I'm not gonna drive us anywhere
I
anywhere
know.
nice.
I know.
Uh, so big changes, big moves,
Yep.
and with big moves come, big character character development. It's a fun word that I learned. Character development. Yeah, it's all part of the journey of life,
Yep.
of growing, of uh of even just um not just growing physically or mentally, but also growing in our faith and spiritually.
100%.
Like we learn to rely on God a bit more and a lot more, not just a
Mhm.
bit more, a lot
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
and let him kind of guide us
Mhm.
to where he sees us going.
Yeah.
Um,
No, absolutely. 100%.
so tell us a little bit more about how you switched from civil,
Mhm.
or well, I guess what you started out with, and then how you got to doing project management. What's
Yeah,
that like?
sure. No, I started out as an engineer actually. So as I said, my undergrad is in civil and infrastructure engineering.
Okay, okay,
Um, and I started out of college as an engineer. Actually,
nice, nice.
from college, like I've had a few internships as an engineer,
Hmm.
and like even like during my time like in college, I was discerning like
Yeah,
what's the right major for me.
yeah.
Like
That's a big question. It's a
yeah,
big question. Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
yeah,
And thank God, like I stuck with civil engineering, and even though and I feel like comfortable saying this now. Even
mm.
like I feel like I didn't really enjoy like being an engineer that much.
Oh, okay. Well, there you
Yeah,
go.
I know.
That's good.
So like it was like my prayer for a long time.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
God, like where do you want me to be? Like what's my role? Like am I gonna really like I kept asking this question to myself for the longest time. Am I just gonna be like an engineer like my whole life? Like pretty much? Is that like all? Is that it?
yeah.
and like it was really getting to me. I just didn't enjoy like my role that much in engineering.
I see.
Yeah, and thank God, like the opportunity came to work in project management. I didn't even see it coming. I didn't even like know this could be a career for me.
Yeah, it's always the things that come out of nowhere that
Yeah,
really get us, isn't it?
exactly. And
Yeah.
thank God, like I'm so happy,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
things worked out the way they did. Looking
God
back now,
bless.
like I'm so happy with the experience I got from being an engineer.
Sure.
I'm so happy with my degree because it helped me like in project management now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, no, thank God I prayed when I was working as an engineer.
Mm.
I just left it in God's hand. I was like, I just don't like put me where you want me to be.
Sure. Sometimes that's all you can do, right?
Yeah, like
Sometimes the only thing you can do is just let go and let God, right?
yeah.
That's great. That's great though. So would you say that your experience as an engineer helped you understand like project management a little bit more?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. And that's one thing about like you know, I trusted this came from God with like my previous
Yeah.
experience and my degree in college. And yeah, it helped me a lot and it helps me until today. Like I'm familiar with a lot of the things that the project manager does
Okay.
because of my role as an engineer. Like
Oh, there you go.
I've seen this world before. I'm familiar with it.
I
Um,
can only imagine. I know a lot of people in our friend circle even
mhm.
that are project managers, and I hear what you guys go through sometimes, and it just I
Yeah,
could never do it. It's not my calling. You know, you mentioned earlier, like, is engineering going to be what you do for the rest of your life?
exactly.
For me, it's the opposite. It's like, oh, I love doing this. You know, it's actually so much fun to sit in a room in a back corner and
Hmm.
just like crunch numbers all day,
No,
and I love that.
I'm
But
happy
it's not
for
for
you.
everyone, you know?
I know exactly.
Yeah,
No, I'm so happy to hear that. Like, I'm so happy for you that this
yeah,
is like your thing and you want to stick with it. For me, it was the complete opposite. For me,
yeah.
I
It
just
just wasn't
like
it.
yeah, I didn't see myself doing it forever. Like I
Yeah.
had a feeling this was just gonna be like a temporary like role, a
Mm,
temporary job for me. Like I had a feeling like no, it's not gonna just be like civil engineering for me. I'm not gonna be in that like career
there's more to
forever.
it.
Yeah, but
Wow.
yeah,
I'm
um,
glad that you found your calling.
thank God.
Why don't you talk to us a little bit more about like that transition period when you were praying and were
Yeah,
really looking for some guidance
yeah,
from God there about switching to
hmm,
something else, and then
yeah.
tell us a little bit about like how project management came out of nowhere.
Sure, yeah, 100%. Um, so I started out like with my job, and it was fresh out of college.
Mm.
I was so obviously like first job out of college is like is it's special, like the special feeling,
It is
like
really special. Yeah,
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 it's
yeah.
like now you're a grown up, like now you're a man, now you have responsibilities,
That's right. That's right.
and
With that first job comes a lot of crazy things
exactly,
that you don't expect. You get
exactly,
your first real paycheck, but you also get your first real set of bills, and
right.
life kind of gets real really
Life,
really quick, and it's kind of scary. I get that.
I
Yeah.
I know. And so it was my first. I actually like I got like the offer from my company when
Yeah.
I was still in college,
Oh,
like,
nice. Very
and
good.
like I accepted it after like much prayer too. I was discerning between like a few offers, and
Yeah.
thank God, like I chose the one I went with.
Yeah.
And at first, I really like enjoyed it. I loved it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So there was a part of you that enjoyed
Oh yeah.
engineering.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
I just enjoyed the learning part of it.
Yeah.
Whenever you start like at a new place or like in a new job, you're always like you're gonna have to learn like
So much to
things that you
learn.
don't know.
So much to learn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that part. Like I enjoy learning.
Yeah.
But when the transition like from me like actually enjoying my job to like no, I'm not really enjoying it is when that
Mm.
learning like phase ended.
Oh, wow. So you'd say
So
there was an end to that learning phase.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Very
like
cool.
or maybe it. or maybe it was just on my end. Like I just wasn't
Sure.
like I didn't want to learn. Like that's it. Like it wasn't really like my thing anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at first, because I was learning so much, I was um I was so excited. I was
Yeah. It
looking
keeps things
forward to.
interesting.
Hmm?
Yeah. It keeps things interesting.
Exactly,
Yeah.
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 And like I was looking forward to like work. I actually enjoyed it. I actually used to tell like people around me too. It had a positive impact on my spiritual life.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Like actually
How so?
like it's interesting because like now when you like so like with work comes like the responsibilities and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now is when you like start um I guess you actually like start involving God like in even
Mm,
your workplace. You know, like
that is,
I would
yeah,
involve him a lot like during like in my college days, obviously during exams,
of
during
course.
whatever.
Of course.
Anytime I just have like something big coming up, a
Yeah.
project or like
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
important like milestone I need to accomplish. But you don't really hear much of like people say, you know,
Mm,
I actually like we hear it around us people saying, yeah, you should involve God in your work.
yeah.
But
Absolutely.
I could
Hear
have
that all the
never
time.
like imagined like how like I can see I involve him when I have an exam coming up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I ask him, like I pray. It's
Absolutely.
like it's like yeah, he's like God's like someone I just call on him whenever I need help.
Mm,
But then like during work,
mm.
I never thought like wait, like during my work day, instead of just like working for like 8 or 9 hours or whatever, you can take some time, a few minutes to pray, um, like
Interesting.
during the day,
Wow.
or
Yeah. You
in the
could.
morning on your way to work.
Yeah.
You can, as you're walking in, you just pray for the day to be blessed and everything like
Absolutely.
happens and goes well. So it's like that like thing that you do,
Mm,
almost like it's like your choice. You
mm.
know, like
You decide.
yeah, you decide
Yeah.
exactly.
Not.
Like
It's not. It's not out of need. It's more out of like your choice, your decision
e-
to have him be part of your day, not just because you
exactly,
need him.
exactly.
That's
Just because I
beautiful.
want him to be involved,
Yeah.
and it's actually like it can go in like both directions. He
Okay.
can need you like can rely on God when everything is going well in your work, and you can just ask him to keep everything, going well and to like help you with your work and everything that you're doing. And even in the days where I used to like not have good days at work or like I wouldn't be happy going in the morning,
Mm,
I would still like involve him. I would tell
of
him,
course.
how I feel. I'm not like
Yeah,
really
have a conversation with him. Yeah,
exactly. I'm
just like
not
you
like
would your parents,
exact.
your father. Yeah,
Yeah. So I would tell him like either I'm having a good day, I'll be like, God, thank you. Keep blessing the day. Keep like
yeah,
working. And even when I'm having a bad day, be like, God, I'm not enjoying this.
that's true.
This, just
Yeah, that's very true. Would you
yeah.
say that your perception or your view of who God is has changed
Hmm.
from when you were in college to when you started working,
Absolutely.
and how so?
Mm, I would say like during college,
Yeah,
I didn't even like have the right understanding of like who God is.
sure,
Like
sure.
like
I don't think I did either.
yeah.
Like he was just for me at least he was just you know a big obviously a big part of my life, but he was also, just
Hmm.
he's here, and I'm like right here.
Yeah.
Like there's no way for me
Hmm.
to connect with him
Yeah.
on a personal level.
Hmm.
That's more like, oh, he's God. He's huge. He's big. There's no way for me to come to someone that big. It's like when I think about like, oh, like the president, for example.
Hmm.
Like there's no way that I'm gonna go talk to the president. Who am I to talk to
Right.
the president, right? Like I'm not worthy of that.
Mm,
I think that's kind of how I viewed him, and it
yeah.
wasn't until much later
Hmm.
that I started viewing him more as a father than like a father figure than like
Hmm.
an authority figure.
Hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. No. 100%.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like when I was in college, obviously I was very like immature about a lot of things in my life.
Who wasn't?
I know, right?
Who
That gives me
wasn't?
some comfort, you know.
Who
Like I look
wasn't? I'm right there with you, man. I
good,
was very immature as well.
good to hear. Good
I
to hear.
definitely was a wild one.
That's
Yeah.
actually good for the for the future generations who are
There's hope for
hopefully
everyone.
gonna
There's hope.
be listening to us. You know, like yeah, have like there's hope in the future.
There's hope. Yeah.
But for me, like during college,
Mm,
um, again, that like aspect of having a relationship with him just wasn't there. It wasn't
okay.
a relationship. It was when I need you,
Right.
I'm gonna pick up like
Pick
the
up the
phone
phone. Yeah.
and dial you,
Sure.
and I want you to answer
Sure.
anything
Sure.
I have. If I'm
Yeah.
like as I said, like if I was like in a difficult situation, for example, if I have like a big test coming up,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I wanna like pray, I wanna like act like more spiritual, I wanna
Mm,
read my Bible more,
mm, mm.
I wanna go to church more.
Do all the
Mhm.
checklist things that we're
Do all the
told.
checklists.
These are how you communicate
Exactly.
with them. Sure.
So for me, it used to be that even though I would go to church, yeah, like that did not change.
Yeah.
But again, on the inside, there was that emptiness. Like I don't really
Mm,
know him.
mm,
I only
mm.
know him in certain times. I only know him when I'm in need.
Yeah.
So come and serve me when I need you. It's not like okay, there's this relationship I
Yeah.
can have with you. I used to rely a lot like on my friends and like on just the people around me, but he was never like I never had this relationship with
Mm.
him.
That's big. It's
Yeah,
really big.
which is very lit. Yeah,
Yeah, that's really, really big. And I think that's a lesson that at least I learned much, much later on. Because I think
yeah.
I had a very similar experience in
Mm,
my college time. It was kind of hard
yeah,
to kind of understand, God's role in my life and how does he fit into the picture? Is
exactly.
he just Santa Claus up there, just granting wishes or
Yeah,
something? Or is there something more to this? I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, I relate to that big
yeah.
time, big time.
No, and the worst thing is, I look back now, and even though like even though like there wasn't that like relationship with him,
Hmm.
but actually he used to answer whenever like
Oh
I
yeah,
would call on him.
isn't that
Like
what a father would do?
yeah,
Right?
exactly,
Like that's
exactly.
that's the craziest part about it. Regardless of how we see him, we're always in his eyes as his children.
Yeah,
And so even if I mean, if you have you see it all the time, right? Like even a spoiled kid still gets the love from his parents, whether he deserves it or not, right?
100%.
And we're sometimes that spoiled kid
Oh, of course, all
that
the
doesn't
time,
deserve anything at all, but
all the
God
time.
is good and gracious and
Hmm.
merciful.
Yeah, like I throughout college, like I wasn't like sure of anything I was doing. I was just like going. I was just and I look back and man, like he chose everything for me and he
Yeah,
planned it. And I say, wow, like thank God everything went the way
yeah,
it went. Like I told you, like there were some difficult situations I was faced with and some difficult like circumstances I was in. It's
yeah,
like I don't know what to do like in this situation.
yeah, yeah.
And this is when I would say like, you know, please help me figure this out because I'm so lost. And he would help me
He is
and he
faithful.
would let it happen. And he would make things like go like in the right way. But then like I do this all the time. And I used to do it a lot during college. And I still do. But
Sure.
I would just forget.
Oh
Say, oh
yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
you know, thank God.
it's funny that you say that because so Myrna and I have a running joke that I have the memory of a goldfish.
Mm,
She could
I
tell me
never knew that.
something 5 minutes later, I've forgotten completely, and I feel like I do that too
Really?
with God sometimes.
I never
Yeah,
knew that. I never
yeah.
knew that about you. I thought
No, no,
like
I have a terrible memory.
engineers tend to like have
No,
a good
no, don't.
memory.
I'll tell you a little secret. I'll let you in
Please.
on a little tiny, eensy weensy secret. The reason that I chose engineering was because I knew I wasn't gonna have to memorize anything at all. That's
Wow.
the reason. I
Mm,
knew that all I had to do was like, okay, I have to understand some concepts. I have to understand how to do a little bit of math, but I don't have to memorize anything.
Wow.
And that came in real handy because I have the memory of a goldfish. I can do math all day, no worries. But once you start, what happened in,
Mhm.
I'm out.
It's funny that you say that because I feel like I also chose engineering for the same reason because I don't want to memorize anything.
Oh
But
yeah.
actually, like I haven't had anyone to evaluate me like
Oh,
you do.
sure,
But I
sure.
feel like if I were to judge myself, I feel like my memory is really good. Like I remember
That's
things
great.
from
That's
yeah,
keep that because
but
that's
not
important.
but not during studying though. Like when
Oh
like
yeah,
I'll just bring exactly
100%, 100%.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, kind of back to your point of forgetting after God has done something amazing to you. One thing that I learned once again much later on,
Mhm.
um, and I think for my sisters, or one of my youngest sister, this
Mhm.
was actually something that she learned while she was in college, and I saw her do it, but I didn't understand it until again I grew a bit older.
Nice.
Probably like I'd say I don't know, um, 3 years ago,
Mhm.
I started a journal,
Okay.
and so in this journal, I'd be going through a struggle, I'd be going through something
Mhm.
tough. I would write about it. I would write what I'm struggling with, and then I'd also write like a little prayer. Um, and now I look back at that
Mhm.
journal. I still have that journal. I still journal in that same journal. I
Yeah.
think journal a lot. But anyways, um, yeah, I look back and I remember what I was going through when I wrote that,
Mhm.
and then I look
Yeah.
back or I look at my life today, and it's crazy. Like it's a
Mhm.
good reminder of what I've been through and how God has been with me
Yeah.
through all of it.
Yeah.
So definitely keep a little prayer journal.
That's
It's big.
amazing. And it's like it's amazing that you say that. And for some reason, like I don't journal. Like I've tried it
Oh
maybe
yeah,
like once or twice, and I just don't
it's
like.
not something that comes naturally to me either. I
I
understand.
yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. No, for me, like a lot of people like would tell me, especially like when I'm going like through like a spiritual like struggle or like a time of like dryness or like I'm
Sure.
not sure if my like
Yeah,
what's going on in my life.
it
A lot of
happens.
people would come up to me and they'll be like, you know what, you should journal about all the good stuff that like happened in your life. And I always tell them like for me, I'm like actually like I still remember everything. Like I
Oh,
remember
good.
like all that stuff.
That's great.
So
Then you do have a good memory.
no. So like the bad thing is like so this is where it sucks because like
Mm,
I feel like sometimes okay like I'm a hypocrite because I remember everything like in the back of my mind. I remember when he like saved me when I wasn't like sure about like what major I want to study and he
yeah.
opened for me the door. He like helped me when I was going through like I had like some subject that I did not like, but
Oh
he
yeah,
just
yeah,
helped me go through them.
yeah. 100%.
And I remember all these things, like I know them.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
They're still in the back of my mind, all of them.
yeah.
And but maybe sometimes I'm really, really bad. And here is like my confession. I'm really bad at reminding
Mm,
myself of that, of the good, of like the good time, or like of like the time where God like
did
really like
something
saved me.
crazy for you. Yeah,
Yeah,
saved you. Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah. I think you know, and if you were to go in and look at my journal, you would see that there are huge gaps
mm,
between like journal entries. So it's not like I didn't have anything happening in between those gaps. It's just that I don't journal. It's not something that I'm good at. It's not something I enjoy,
hmm
but it's something that I do. And I've found that like having something physical, tangible, where it's not just like a memory or sometimes even a memory of a memory, like it's like how you
right.
remember the memory, not even the memory itself,
hmm
but like having something physical where you can go back and literally read what happened,
Mm-hmm.
game changer.
Yeah.
Game changer.
Oh,
I
yeah.
gotta say,
For sure.
big time game changer. Wow. So Shady, why don't you tell me a little bit about when did you find your calling to start serving? And what
Mm,
does that look like?
sure. Yeah. Actually, so it's good that we started with like the whole moving thing and like how I moved,
Yeah.
because before moving, like while I was still in Egypt, I had like no relationship with God or with the church whatsoever.
Oh,
Like the
interesting.
church was very close to where I lived,
Sure.
and for me it was just this building that
Mm.
like I could go. Um, in Egypt, we would our weekend used to be Friday and Saturday,
That's
or
right.
Friday
Yeah.
and Sunday.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Didn't know that.
that's the
Interesting.
so for me, because I had school Sunday
Mm.
through Thursday.
Mm.
Okay, my
Mm-hmm.
weekend would be Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
So for me, like this church, like the church was just like this building that I would be in like on Friday, like yeah, and even on Friday because it used to be so packed.
Yeah.
I didn't even like, I wouldn't even bother going. If
I
I'm being
see.
honest. So I didn't even have a relationship with like, I know this is gonna sound so bad, but like not even with the building to have a
Wow.
relationship with like the
Yeah.
actual,
Yeah. Yeah.
like the Godhead of this like place or like of this body. Like I didn't even I wasn't even part of the body. Like I
Yeah.
so and looking back to the whole like moving thing, I was so against moving to the US, but you see, this is God's plan.
Yep.
When we moved here, something in me just said, okay, like what's like the one place that you could feel like it's almost like, you had something like it back home. You had something like it back in Egypt.
Yeah. Some
What's
familiarity.
some yeah.
Yeah. You're looking for some familiarity. Sure.
Yeah. So what's that one place? The church.
The
The
church.
church
The church. Yeah.
was close. Okay, let's go to church. And so I started going to the church building.
The building. Hey,
The
that's
building.
that's a good first step.
Yeah.
Good first step.
Exactly. Like I loved the building, and I would just go. I found myself that like I want to be there more than I would have thought. Um and That was part of God's plan for me. I guess
Mm.
it was part of him trying to get me,
Mm-hmm.
not just to know him, but maybe just to realize that he's here.
Sure. That he's
Like,
present.
yeah, that he's just present. Like there
Yeah.
is like
Yeah.
like you belong to me. You are my son.
Yeah.
Like before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
I felt like when I was in Egypt, like I didn't even know anything about like God, the church, nothing.
Wow.
But when I moved here, well, this is where like started like realizing that I like I need him.
Yeah.
I want to be like I want to be there. So I started developing this relationship with the church, or like with the church building. Okay,
Okay.
not
Okay.
necessarily with God though.
Yeah.
And I started serving at like a young age,
I was just gonna ask. Yeah.
but it's just it wasn't like any of like the big services. Like
Okay.
I wasn't like in any like big ministry like Sunday school or whatever.
Yeah.
I was I remember I used to do the parking ministry.
No way.
Yeah.
Little Shady
I
out
know.
there with the flag.
Exactly. That used to be me. Oh my gosh.
That's
Like I'll
amazing.
never forget.
That's so funny.
I know. I can't remember how old I was. Like I was like 15, 16 or something.
Okay, so
Can you
maybe
imagine?
not so little, but still
I
like
know. And that used to be me.
no way.
That was like my first, like, I would say, like, I know, like, we
Mm.
don't sometimes, or me personally, I don't even like think, I wouldn't see like the way how we define service nowadays.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, something like the parking, like, service would not even like
register as.
Yeah, would not even register as like a service or like
Yeah.
even a ministry.
People have to park to get into church to pray, right?
Exactly.
Like it's still big,
Exactly.
right?
I used to let people park to go inside and
Yeah,
like
and pray. Yeah,
and pray.
it still matters. It's still a big
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, man, I'm getting flashbacks now of my young
Oh,
self right in
that's
the parking
so
lot.
funny. Oh my
I
god.
wanna I wonder like what were the people thinking when they like they roll down their window and see
And
me
you got
there.
little 15-year-old Shady like, oh, go over there. Stay out of the mud.
So I did that for some time.
Wow.
Also during that time,
Mm,
I was involved in another ministry,
okay.
and it was like a service.
Yeah.
Our church was going through like a construction
Oh, yeah.
phase,
Sure.
and so we had to pray in like the church, like in like the basketball court. We
Yeah,
call
the
it the gym,
gym.
the church gym.
Yeah,
Like our basketball court.
that's right.
And so because it's not like a
Not a church.
permanent like a church, like it's not like a permanent like prayer um place.
Yeah.
It wasn't like set up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So the only thing that was set up in it was like the altar
Oh, okay.
and the iconstasis. That's it, and with the icons, and that's it. But there were no chairs.
You gotta put the chairs up
You
every
gotta put the chairs.
single Sunday.
So every Friday night, I would go and I would put it was like 256 chairs or
Oh.
something. Yeah.
I can only imagine you putting like the amount of chairs that we would need today.
Oh yeah, no,
Thousands,
that.
thousands of chairs.
Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I can't be serving it.
Maybe we'll get 15-year-old Shady to
I know,
come
right?
help us with 1,000 chairs. That's crazy. 200 plus chairs. Like that's a lot of chairs, man.
Thank God it was.
Sounds like a workout.
It was something definitely like
Yeah.
I'll never forget.
Yeah.
It was a great time though. In that like kind of service is where I first like began like understanding what service is or like serving in general, like what it means to serve. It was something that like no one, especially like with the chairs, it was like something that really like no one saw. Only only like the people.
It's something that happens behind the scenes. Like it's meant to happen behind the scenes.
Right.
Yeah.
You need it to happen, but no one is really aware of it. Only maybe the people I ask to come help me. These are the only people who would know.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I look back and I say, also God had a plan.
Oh yeah.
And like forming me in the way how He wants me to serve Him. And I use that and I say,
okay,
because I served in like such like as you said, like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And like parking stuff like that. Things that, as you said, they wouldn't even register in your head as like service.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But I say that was part of God's plan for me to form. Like it was like the prerequisites to actually start.
He builds you up. Yeah.
Exactly.
He builds you up. He takes you from where you were at.
Yeah.
And he builds you up.
And I used to hear this all the time. I used to hear people say, like, older people, of course, and they still say that, like, they say, like, the behind the scenes ministry or service is the best.
It is, yeah.
And back then, when I would hear that, I'd be like, no,
You say so.
Come help me one Friday night and you're going to change your mind.
Yeah, yeah.
But now, I'm like, no, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if you don't, like, see it as, like, the best in the time being, in the future, you're going to come to the realization that it actually, like, it is the best because it helps you, like, actually, like, have, like, an actual like role like in like service in the church.
Yeah. And I think a part of that it takes away the like recognition part of service.
Yeah.
Which is big because I don't know about you, but like when the more you become like recognized or seen, the more that kind of plays into your pride.
100%.
It's dangerous. It's a dangerous thing. It's a slippery slope. So yeah, I think the behind the scenes they're a great blessing.
Yeah.
You know, they are a great blessing.
Yeah.
And service is a great, it's a great thing. You know, it's an amazing thing. I think so. My background's a little bit different. I also started serving, I guess, I don't know. It wasn't called serving when I started.
Okay.
I was in like third grade.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think.
That's interesting. I would love to hear about
Um,
that.
but so I grew up going to the Greek church, which is a little bit different than the Coptic church, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I started to learn to think less of myself and start to think about the people around me,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting because I just had a conversation with my Sunday school boys about
Very
this
okay.
last night. So
You're
crazy.
passing down your experience.
But yeah, eventually, as I grew older and older and older, I've realized how big service can be in like a how big a how what am I trying to say? Like how big of a role service can play
Mm-hmm.
in my life, you know?
Okay.
And it really is like God's way of like showing you, oh, like this is how I want you to come to me,
Exactly.
and to help your brothers and sisters out there,
Yep.
you know? Um which is funny because um I don't think I ever like really stopped serving. It just looked different
Mm-hmm.
as in the different phases of life. It just looked a lot different. And it wasn't even called serving most of the time. It was just, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this because it's the right thing to do, and like I want to help out.
Right.
So it's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when I moved up here, so funny because Michael, of course, Michael Fahmy.
Yeah, yeah,
I love Michael.
yeah. Same.
He's amazing. But he's a big like advocate for service because
Mm-hmm.
his history, serving in Africa and all
Yeah.
these like crazy places.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyways, when I moved up here, Michael was taking me around and introducing me to everyone at the church, and it
Mm-hmm.
was great. I was very overwhelmed,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, because it's like thousands of
Right.
people, and he took me to the Sunday school wing of church
Okay.
after service, after Light and Life, I think it
Mm-hmm.
was. Yeah. And he introduced me to Rania. I think Peter was there as well.
Okay.
He's like, "Hey, we got you a new servant." I was like, well, I was so like nervous and overwhelmed and just like I didn't know what was happening.
That was your first like interaction, like with like
Yeah, yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This was like 2 weeks into St. Mark's, coming to St.
That's
Mark's.
crazy.
So I was like, oh, okay. I mean, sure, I'll serve, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, I was like really, really overwhelmed. And um, like I said, at the time I was pretty sure that I was going back to Texas. Like I was pretty
Mm,
adamant that, oh no, I'm gonna move back to Texas. I'm not staying here. Like, why
mhm.
would I stay here?
Yep.
Much less start serving here, like
Mhm.
if I'm not gonna be here long term.
Yeah.
So I went like a solid 2 years. It's so funny because I'm pretty sure Runya was like, oh, after that day, because I didn't show up after that.
Mm.
Like I never went back to follow up. I had a few conversations with like Peter and Johnny about like starting to serve and taking servants prep and stuff.
Mhm.
But after that, like she didn't hear from me. She probably thought like, oh, darn,
You went
never see him again.
you went back.
Yeah. It's actually so funny because I resisted service
Mm.
for a solid like 2 years.
Okay.
I didn't want to do it. I definitely didn't want to do Sunday school
Mhm.
because I was like I was still new, still getting to know people, getting to know the place.
Yep.
I was enjoying Light and Life.
Yeah.
I was still making friends. I was still confused about everything in my life. Um, but after a while, I guess fast forward 2 years and some change,
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? No, I need to do something with my life that's not so focused on myself. Like I need to do
Yep.
something because
Mhm.
I just wasn't feeling fulfilled. I was feeling empty, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's an emptiness inside.
Yep.
So I decided to give service another shot. But again, like I was like, no way, I'm gonna do Sunday school. I
Mm.
just I don't want to give that up, that Sunday time up. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but once again, God has a plan, and
Mm-hmm.
it's an amazing plan that I never would have. I never was thinking or dreaming of this. And now, like, if you ask me, like, I can't imagine my Sundays or my life without like Sunday school. I love it.
100. Wow.
I
Yeah.
love it. Um, and through this service, I've also I've also found myself growing
Mm-hmm.
in my faith, in my um, you know, dedication to others. Like it's a big thing. Service isn't just, oh, let me do something nice for you. No, it's like
Exactly.
it's you know, we're serving Christ
Mm-hmm.
through his children out there.
Through serving his children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, not behind the scenes. It's all service to
Yeah.
him, right?
100%.
And without sacrifice, there's no sweetness to the service, right?
Yeah. You know, I've heard this before. Like we look at like small like
Mm,
picture, we just look at the small details, but like God looks at big picture, like he sees the
yeah,
whole thing.
right.
And sometimes when I zoom out and I look at like my life so far and what has happened in my life and where I am today, I say, yeah, actually, like all the pieces of the puzzle are like they all
Yeah,
fit together perfectly. Like
yeah,
everything is like put
yeah,
together well.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
he had a plan. Like if like I tell myself this, if I was still in Egypt today,
yeah. Who
man,
knows?
I mean, of course, who knows? But
Yeah,
like I know I could tell you for sure I had no relationship even like with the church building, let alone
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. Which is like, yeah, that's such a big contrast when you look
yeah.
back at not having a relationship with just the building and then where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. How would you say that your service has shaped your view of humility and love?
Mm. I guess it's like as you said, like to begin with, like what is the reason
Mm,
for service? Like why would you willingly give up like your time um to like serve?
sure.
Is it just to feel good about yourself?
Mm,
I think there is more to it than just that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um it's not like your time anymore. It's not like your decisions anymore. It's not
Mm,
like
mm,
no, you are giving this up for the sake of other people, for the benefit of other people, for the people you are serving.
mm,
You willingly chose
yeah,
to limit your time on Sundays instead of like being home like early after liturgy and just
yeah,
starting
yeah,
your doing whatever throughout your day.
sure.
No, you chose to sacrifice like a couple of hours just to give it to some like young guys who need to be served.
Right, yeah. We need
Yeah.
some guidance
Mm-hmm.
and a role model
Yeah.
and yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And so I feel like for me, if I mean my thing is too when I started serving at a young age, I still
Mm,
did not understand the meaning of like love and humility. For me, it
yeah,
used to be an only like an outside thing.
sure.
If I do it on the outside, if I show you on the outside, I like if I show on the outside I'm humble,
Yeah,
but on the inside I'm like I'm so full of myself. You know, I can be serving and I can still have that in me. I
yeah, yeah,
can still be serving, like can show that like I'm the most loving person. I love everyone around me. But on the inside, I'm full of hatred. I don't like the people.
yeah,
I only want like um my way to go. I only want to be the one who appears. I only want to
yeah.
take credit for myself. Um, but honestly, like it's like for me, it's God's like work in my life.
Mm,
And he like made me like realize honestly, like I feel like I try to imagine like him having a conversation with me,
yeah,
and I feel
yeah.
like if he were to have a conversation with me like about like service or like serving this church, I feel like this is how it would go. I feel like he would look at me and he would tell me, "Look, I don't really like need you to serve me.
Mm,
Why? 'Cause there's a million other people who can do it.
sure.
I don't like need
There's nothing
you
special
like
about
just
you.
for yourself. That there's
Yeah.
nothing special about you.
Yeah.
Like it's not like oh because like you're this great guy, so I'm dying to have you serve me.
Mm,
No, I feel like
I
he
like
would tell
that.
me,
I like that perspective.
yeah, I feel like he would tell me, but I am doing it for your own sake. I
Wow.
am using you for your sake. It's part of my
Wow.
salvation plan for you. It's
That's
part of my plan of
amazing.
salvation for you.
Yeah.
Like we always like, I always like think about this. Like
Mm,
God, we for sure God after like the fall of like man,
mm,
the plan of salvation was always there for humanity. See, the
yeah.
plan of salvation for humanity.
Yeah.
Jesus came to the womb of Saint Mary. He was incarnate. He lived on earth. He
Mm,
was crucified. He was placed in the tomb. On the third day, he rose from the dead, and he ascended into the heavens. And we are waiting for the second coming.
right. Right.
That's the salvation plan. Like that, when we look
Of
again
humanity.
of humanity.
What's the salvation plan for Shady?
Exactly.
Wow.
Bingo. Like, what's the salvation plan for you personally?
Yeah.
Like, there's a salvation plan for humanity. Yeah, it's happening, and God's gonna come and again. But what
Yeah.
about you? How
Yeah. How are
what
you
is
to be
my plan
saved?
for you? So I feel like his the way how he's like like feel like the way how he would like speak to me about like my service that he would tell me like yeah I don't really like there's nothing special about you but I'm
Mm,
using you to save you from yourself
yeah.
basically
Yeah. I mean,
and I feel like
I love that.
yeah
I love that. Yeah.
thanks brother
That's
and I feel like
amazing.
thank God I mean
I love
I
I like that perspective a
mm,
lot. I like that perspective a lot. That really that's gonna give me something to think
no
about. You know?
no so yeah, like that's it really for me. It's like, and then through service,
Mm,
even if you start off like prideful or full of yourself or whatever,
yeah,
through like through like as time goes by, you start to grow, you start to learn, and you start knowing that God,
yeah, yeah.
as I said, does not really need you, but He
Mhm.
wants you to serve Him, and that really what makes you
Yeah,
humble. That's what like that
it
gives you like
humbles
the
you.
sense of humility, like
Yes,
really like I really actually like if I'm by myself, I really have nothing to like offer. Like, well,
it's true. Yeah,
like what am I gonna do if I'm just by myself? Like I imagine if you were to say,
absolutely.
okay, I'm gonna remove my hand and you're by yourself in the service, do it. Serve. I would drown. Like I would be
A
lost.
100%. A
But
100%.
but it's that aspect of humility
Yeah,
where I think and I say, it's not me, it's him. He's the one who is guiding me. He's the one who is um he's the one who is working in the lives of his people. He's just using me as like a
yeah.
tool.
You're his instrument. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like like Jesus and Saint Joseph, they were carpenters. I'm sure they use like hammers
Yeah,
and
of course.
whatever tools to like as part of their job.
Yeah,
Okay, their
yeah,
job is to create something like from carpentry.
yeah.
We are like I feel like I'm like one of the tools that he uses. I can
You're
be
one of
like
his
this hammer
chisels.
that he uses to just,
One
like
of his
knock
hammers.
on the wood or like
That's right.
or
Yeah,
like this drill that he like uses
yeah.
to like put the nail in or
A
so
hundred
yeah.
percent. A
So
100%. Yeah.
again, I have to be humble about it because he doesn't need me. Like
Mm,
but he just like there's nothing special about me.
I love that
But this is part of my
perspective.
salvation. Do you want to be saved? Yes. Okay.
I mean,
Let
there's
me.
definitely something special about you, but I
No,
love
no,
that
thank you, man.
perspective.
No, no, no.
I love that
Thank, no, I
perspective.
appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, being able to look past yourself is a hard thing to do,
Hmm.
and especially when you're surrounded by people that want to feed your pride or your ego.
Yeah.
It's a tough thing to navigate for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
But keeping in mind that um, you know, what you're doing isn't for anyone but him.
Hmm.
It's also a big thing.
Yeah.
A good way to keep yourself in check, you know.
Exactly.
So I guess my question for you, as it is my question for everyone, and the question of the podcast, as we're navigating life and trying to figure out what's next,
Hmm.
how does your faith play in your decision making process? How did your faith play in your decision to serve, and how to serve, and why to serve, and when to serve? How did your faith play in all that? And how did it, and also, like, how did it change because of it?
Hmm.
There's twofold to the question,
Exactly. Exactly.
right?
It's, yeah, 100%. No, I mean, I would say, I mean, as I said before, before I never like understood this concept of God.
Yeah,
And when you start like knowing or like experiencing God, a bunch of other things start like coming um to your life or coming in place, like your faith, uh your spiritual life, your even your life with like your social life. A
yeah,
bunch of different things start like
falling into place.
falling into place.
That's
Exactly.
so true.
And I feel like for me, even though like when like again, I'll use the example like when I moved from Egypt,
Yeah.
I did not know God. I didn't know who God was, and like I had no relationship with Him whatsoever.
Hmm.
I heard about Him. Yeah, I maybe I've heard some miracles when I was young,
Sure.
but I
Yeah.
just had never like really like there's I never experienced Him.
Mm.
So I would say His plan for each and everyone starts obviously like as I said before, like He knows us before we're even formed
Yeah.
in our mother's wombs.
Right.
So He already knows each person. He already knows, how their life is going to be.
Hmm.
And so on our end, sometimes even at a young age, when I don't know him or when I don't like trust him over certain things, he's already there. He's already working. It just on my end, like I don't know, like my move from Egypt
Yeah. Of
wasn't like a thing that happened like haphazardly, like without.
course,
No, it happened for a reason. God had a plan,
for your own salvation,
but
for
I wasn't.
Shady's salvation plan.
Sure, yeah, for Shady's
Exactly.
salvation plan. Did I know it? Absolutely not. Did I know him? Absolutely not. Um, Faith is a big thing. Faith is like very big.
It is. It
Faith,
is.
yeah,
And it's
it's
multifaceted as well. It's not just like a
hmm
simple one line direction. This is faith. No,
exact,
it's a lot more than that.
exact. Faith is trust. Do I um do I trust him with what's coming in my life? Like we spoke about like about work, and like I spoke to you about how like I discovered that actually I didn't like my first job out of college and I didn't like enjoy it. And I wasn't sure about anything like what's gonna happen next in life. Am I just gonna be stuck in this job forever? Am I gonna just switch to another job like in the same career and still like end up hating my life still? So like I didn't know any of that. I didn't know what's gonna happen in the future. Um, but then you see what God like did in my life, where I see like
Yeah,
how
when
He
you look
like
back and
yeah, I look back and I see like how He um chose like this different career for me, this different career path, and He pushed me in it.
yeah,
And I say, okay, that's one thing that makes me trust Him. That's another step, like in in my in building up my faith
yeah,
in Him. That's like one thing.
absolutely.
And I think of all these things in my life and like adding them all up together, I say, yeah, like when I was young, I had zero faith in Him. Now, with everything that like I look back at and I think about, I say I should have 100% faith in Him. The challenge for me is the personal challenge for me is, and I'll share this with you, and I would like your perspective,
Sure.
is, when you know all that happened and you know all that, but you still sometimes have your doubts, you still have your moments where you are unsure. Um, like how do you navigate these moments? Or like, I know I should trust you with like whatever big step that's coming up in my life, whatever the next milestone is. I know I should trust you. I know you're gonna choose for me. I say I have faith in you,
Sometimes it's
but do
harder
I do,
to
but do
to
I
live
really?
that. Yeah.
I used to always say this thing where like recently I I was with one of my like I was with my spiritual father, and I was telling him, you know what? I just wanna like ride with him. And as you said, what was the
Jesus take the wheel.
Jesus take the wheel. Jesus take the wheel.
Yes,
I just
yes.
like I was telling him like I just wanna like ride with him
Yeah. And let him do his thing,
and let him do his thing. But I say it with my lips.
but not with yeah.
But again, on the inside, like I'm like, do I really mean it? Though do I really like let's say like in Egypt there's this funny concept they say, um like let's say like you have like a certain prayer, and I'm not sure if it's like I don't think it's a Christian like thing. It's probably not,
Probably
but
more
like
of a
some
cultural thing, maybe.
Mhm.
Maybe more of a cultural thing.
Yeah,
We get that a
yeah,
lot.
yeah,
There's a
culture thing.
mixture of those things, yeah.
People would say, I think they use it as a joke too. Like you pray something, and then they would say, "Yeah, I hope like the doors of heaven are open now, so like my prayer could
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like fulfilled."
Yeah.
And and sometimes like when I would say, what, God, I wish you could just take the wheel and just drive, and like I just want to enjoy the ride with you. Sometimes I think back, I'm like, oh, I hope the door wasn't open. I hope that like no, 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 I don't really
On
mean it.
second
That like
thought,
I still want to
yeah.
have
Still
I
need some
still wanna
control.
I still wanna have some control.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I think about this a lot too,
mm,
because I think in our lives we go through um highs and lows. It's a wave, it ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows. It's
mhm,
constantly changing
mhm,
where we're at in our faith.
mhm,
Um and I think one of the things that gives me a little bit of comfort
mhm,
is if you look back at the Old Testament, for example, and how God um treats the Israelites despite their treatment of
rebellion.
him,
Yeah.
like, right? So, they'll be in his good graces, and then they'll do something really dumb. And
Mhm.
then they'll be in his good graces, and then they'll do something really dumb.
Yep.
And then, and it keeps going up and down and up and down.
Mhm.
But he doesn't change, right? He's up here, and he's constant, and he's always there,
Mhm.
regardless of where you're at.
Yep.
Um, And so I think that's a little bit that's comforting to know that regardless of where I'm at, regardless of, you know, where my faith is at or um, where I'm at in life, he's always going to be there to
Yep.
catch me, to guide me, to love me.
Mhm.
So it's more of trying to remember that he's there
Yeah.
no matter what,
Yes.
rather than maybe, you know, why do I keep doubting
Mhm.
even though I know he's there?
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. And y the example that you use is a perfect one.
Mm,
Like the Israelites and how, God was with them. And I mean, they had every reason to like trust him and to have faith in him. I mean, look at he literally split a sea in front of you.
exactly.
And like we look at them, or not we, I look at them and I read the story and I say, "Man, like what are these people? Like how like that's so dumb. Like you literally like
I feel the same way.
witness, yeah, like
But then I look back at my life and I'm like, oh, wait, I just did that today.
exactly. This is exactly where I
You
was
know what I
going with
mean?
that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then I look back and I'm like, Am I like an
I'm
Israelite?
the
Am
Israelite
I the
today.
Israelite
It's
here?
me.
Like,
I'm looking at a mirror.
mhm,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
But
that's true.
again, even though we have like these moments of weakness,
Yeah.
I remember. I'm gonna tell you this story. I'll never forget this.
Yeah.
One
That's
time,
good.
I was attending a liturgy. Okay, and I was serving as a like I was dressed as a deacon and everything. And I was just going through like this difficult time. I just like I don't trust God. And I just have so many doubts and like which is normal, which
Sure.
happens.
Yeah.
Um, but I had this moment where like it was communion time, and I was taking communion at the end. I was gonna go after the congregation, like
I
after all the
see.
congregation takes communion. I was gonna go in and take communion,
Yeah.
and just I felt this thing. I just felt like I don't want to approach. I don't want to go
Okay.
to communion. I don't want to go.
Interesting.
And so the priest saw me. He was like, "Shady, come take communion for him." I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I go. I'm like, I said something I never thought like I would say. I said like, hey, like Abuna or like Father.
Yeah.
Like I don't. Something in me is telling me no. And he told me, yeah, that's fair. But his strength is made perfect in weakness, which
Mm.
is like which is like one of St. Paul's themes. It's
Uh.
like, okay, even though you are weak in this moment,
Yeah.
even though you don't have faith in me,
Mm.
but I will manifest my strength
Yeah.
or my greatness even in your lowest
Wow.
moments. Like as you
Amazing.
said, goes back to the Israelites. He was always there.
He
He
never
never
left.
changed.
Yeah.
Even though they changed, they went up and down, up and down. They witnessed a miracle. Um
Right.
they were so happy and they had so much faith. The next the next struggle they faced, they just went down.
Yeah.
And he's the same. Like nothing changed. Like still, I'm the strong God who formed you and who has a plan for you.
Absolutely.
And so this is where it gets really challenging. Faith is something that can fluctuate. It can be go up, can go
100%.
down.
It's never constant.
It's never constant.
Yeah.
But just remember that he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. We actually say that.
Amen.
Um, this is what our church believes. He is never gonna change,
That's right.
even though we change.
That's right.
His character is like he's unchangeable. Like so like I tell this to myself and just keep trusting in him, even if you do like fall or if you have some mistrust in him,
Yeah.
even though it sucks because you personally don't feel peace in you,
Oh.
which is also like a big thing. But just trust that he's gonna manifest his strength during that time too. You're never gonna be alone.
Mm.
You know, Peter when he drowned, that could have been the end of the story for him.
Yeah.
He could have
That's true.
sank. He could have. That's it.
That's
Done.
true.
But he literally just stretched his hand and he caught
And
him back
sometimes,
up.
well, a lot of times we're Peter.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're
100%.
reaching out
Yeah.
for God's hands.
I
You know.
know.
Yeah.
So I always say this to myself.
Yeah.
Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief.
Yes. Yeah. That's one of my favorite. One of my favorite prayers
Yep.
as well.
I know.
It's actually interesting because I heard. I can't remember where I heard this from before, but there was a saying about your faith is never constant. You're either growing or you're declining.
Yeah.
There's no constant.
Yeah.
So if you're not constantly working on your faith, if
Mm-hmm.
you're not constantly putting in time, there's you're going downhill, right?
Exactly.
And I think service is a big part of that. Service plays a huge role in the way that we view Christ, in the way that we view our brothers and sisters around us. Um, and in our relationship with Christ as well.
100%.
Yeah. Well, Shady, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a wonderful time.
Yeah.
I learned a lot.
No, it's
I gained some
my
new
pleasure.
perspectives.
It's my pleasure. Like, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm the one who learned a lot and will continue learning a lot from you. Trust me.
Likewise. I'll be learning a lot from you as well.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
And
Damn.
no, thank you so much for having me in this.
I appreciate your time, taking some time out of your busy Saturday to spend some time with me to chat.
It's okay.
Yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in and listening to today's podcast. I hope you got something out of our conversation today. I hope you learned something, took something away that you'll be able to apply to your life in a practical way. Yeah. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And follow me on social media to stay up to date with new podcast episodes and future guests. We'll see you guys in the next one. God bless.